You're listening to the Content Sells Podcast, the show all about how to create content to attract, convert, and keep your ideal clients. Welcome to episode 240. I'm Susie Daphnis, and here with me is my co-host, Michelle Falson. Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Hey, Susie. I am very well. I'm excited about today's episode. I know I say that every time, but I am these shows. And today, the reason for my excitement is we're talking about something that really is so crucial for small business owners. And these are the common website mistakes that could be costing them clients and sales. And over the years, you and I, we've reviewed a lot of websites, and we've found we're constantly giving very similar feedback about what these mistakes are.
Yeah, and it's such an important topic because for many of us, your website is often the first point of contact that potential clients have with your business. And there were several things we found were consistently missing or mistaken on most small business owners' websites, like seeing it again and again and again, which is where this idea for this particular episode came from. And so we want to share this feedback far and wide to as many business owners as possible. So let's dive into the top, and we've brought it down to 8 website mistakes that small business owners make and how to fix them.
Let's just get into fixing these mistakes right at this very moment.
Right now, Michelle. Right now.
And the very first one is really having an unclear value proposition. And so value proposition, that's getting back into all of our old, if any of us ever did any marketing training, you'll know that there's a lot of talk about your value proposition. And this is when you fail to communicate the unique value that your business offers, the unique thing that people are going to get when they work with you or when they engage with you. And if your visitors to your website can't quickly, and the emphasis is on quickly, and easily understand what you do and why it matters to them, they're likely going to just straight out the door. You need to know when somebody arrives on your site, they know exactly what you do and who you are for and what they need to do next right away. There's a wonderful marketing expert, communication expert called Donald Miller, and he kind of talks about the caveman test, that when you arrive on a page, like if a caveman arrived on your website, would they be able to piece together what it is you do? Can we immediately kind of get the gist of what is happening? So if you're thinking about your own website right now and thinking, I'm making my people kind of work for it, then you might need some of the tips that we're about to share with you. So here's 3 quick things that you can do to help mitigate this mistake. The first is you want to have a very compelling headline. Treat your homepage like any form of communication where you direct people's attention to something at the top of the page first. And your headline should immediately tell visitors what you do and why it matters to them. For example, instead of saying, welcome to XYZ company, say, hey, welcome to her business, where we help women small business owners to grow profitably. So immediately they know you're for women small business owners. They know you're about helping them grow their business. So you want to kind of really think about that value proposition being super clear in your headline and having people just know exactly where to look on the page. Because I often look at web pages and I don't know where to look. There is so much competing for my attention. A headline will definitely give you a place for people to focus first. The other thing you want to do, just if you are looking at, I've got a very unclear value proposition, is to use visuals. So support your messages with images or videos that illustrate your value. And visuals can help make this kind of unique proposition that you have more real. One of the very best places I like that to be is really at the top of your website, somewhere that before anybody's going to have to decide if they're going to move around on your webpage, they're going to see a visual or a combination of visuals that work in conjunction with your headline to really get this message across. And combined with that is this idea of understanding what you need to do above the fold. Now, many of you may be familiar with this phrase, above the fold, but the idea is it gets back actually to the old direct marketing days when you used to write a letter and you'd fold the letter into an envelope. And when people opened the envelope and looked at the letter, you really had to have something compelling in that first fold, of the letter, in the first few lines of your statement, before they would even consider opening the letter up fully. And so if you think about your website right now, there's a portion above the fold. Now, it's not where the letter folds anymore, it's where the screen ends. And so what is it that people are seeing above the fold on your website, on your homepage, the page they've landed on, that's going to make them want to keep reading? And so if you can get this kind of trifecta, especially on your homepage where you have a really compelling visual or combination of visuals, a compelling headline, all of that happening above the fold, then you're in really good shape to start to make your value proposition clearer and have people want to read some more of your website.
Right. And we've only just covered what's happening like in that very first screen, but this is what most people who come to your website are going to see. And so having that clear value proposition, having that headline, those really compelling visuals, having the key information they need to know to go, oh yeah, I've landed on the right place, is so important. And it can really set the tone for the rest of the visitor's experience on your website. And you want to be as clear as you can in the first few seconds of someone arriving on your site as to what you do and who you are for. Now, Michelle talked about the lizard brain and this idea of the caveman coming to your site. Well, I had an experience over 20 years ago now. I was in New York City attending a workshop with marketer Seth Godin, and he was reviewing websites. And so I raised my hand for him to review our website. Now, this was a website about 4 generations of websites ago. And he looked at the homepage that we had at the time and he said to me, "Where's the banana?" To which I said, "What?" And what he meant was, if I'm thinking across, he's my caveman, he's my, if a monkey was to come to your website, would they find the banana? Would they find the thing that they are looking for? Now, he wasn't being disparaging to our website visitors. He was just saying, like, you want to make it that simple. Oh, website. Oh, there's the banana. That's why I'm here, and moving towards it. And I thought that was quite funny. So you want to make it absolutely clear what it is that you want people to do when they get to your website by having that one clear proposition for them. So we have 8 mistakes here today. Mistake number 2 is still happening right at the beginning part of your website, and that is poor navigation. This is the second mistake, because a complicated or confusing navigation menu can really frustrate your visitors and make it hard for them to find what they came there to look for. So you want to simplify your menu. You don't need 25,000 links coming off of your menu. You want to keep it simple and kind of intuitive. And you don't want to have too many options. You want to stick to the essentials and not nesting too many things under each other as well. You don't want to have a drop-down list that has 20 things. You also don't want to have people having to, and this is the analogy I like to use, say, for instance, you wanted them to see the clients that you've worked with before and find your testimonials. You don't want them to have to go say to them, "Look, just go down the hall, 3rd door on your right, and then 2nd on the left, and that's where you're going to find the testimonials." You don't want to make your menu like that, where it's just so hard to find things. So simplifying your menu is the first thing. The second thing is to really clearly label the items in your navigation. And so you want to avoid being clever here. This is a point to be, people are there, they're only there for a few seconds. You can use your Google Analytics to know just how long they are there. They're not there very long. So you want to make sure that your labels won't confuse people. So this is not the time to be clever. So if it's contact, then put contact. If it's about us, then it's about us. If it's the shop and you've got things that you retail, great. If it's your podcast, great. If it's your services, just make it super simple. Being clever at this point won't really serve you. So we have simplifying the menu, having really clear labels. And now I want to add a search function. And ideally, you want that search function to be in that top part of your website, because it's going to help visitors find what they need if it's not right there on the homepage. And this is important for sites with a lot of content. So for our site, for example, right now we have hundreds and hundreds of episodes of across 3 different podcasts. We have blog posts dating back almost 20 years. So it can be really hard for people to find what they're looking for if we don't make the search function really robust. And a number of years ago, we had a custom website. And so we had a custom search function, and it was terrible. So you want to make sure, whatever platform you're using, that you are using one that allows you to have the best possible search function that you can.
This is such great advice, Susie. And I know it's a little bit like people might be saying, okay, well, yeah, okay, I've done that. But I would encourage every single person who is listening to just go back and look at your navigation on your website. There could very well be some complexity hiding in there that you want to streamline. I have many times left a website because I find the navigation frustrating. You remember the drop down menu with the like 50,000 drop downs in it was like the thing. And then sometimes they'd have a drop down off the drop down.
Yes, it goes down and then it goes to the right and then it goes, it's crazy.
Gosh, and then you've got to hold your tongue just right and manage to get your cursor at like just the exact pixel on the page to be able to click on it. So, like, more is not more. And I find myself, I must have said that 5 times already today in different things that I've been doing. But the simplified, very elegant, clear, concise number of items in your navigation is the key to people being able to navigate your website and not bowing out like I have many times. So, yeah, I agree with you. A clear and easy to navigate website keeps our visitors happy and helps them find the information they need when they need it. And one other little tip I'd say about that, whether you're starting a new website or you're thinking, hey, I want to maybe change the navigation a little bit on the existing website, think it all through on paper first. It costs so much less to just spend the time kind of designing it, on paper first than trying to change it after it's been coded. And this is that classic, I'd have written you a shorter note, but I ran out of time. It can take some time to sort of refine and change the categories and really get things into a very neat state, but it is absolutely worth doing. Now, I want to dig into our third mistake, which is slow loading times for a website. Susie, have you ever had that situation where you're like, you're ready to go, you don't have a lot of time, you click on a link, and really we don't give it a lot of time, do we, before we bail?
No, I'm out of there. Bail.
Oh, baby. So, yeah, you need really fast loading times. And this is something that I think we can overlook. We get so caught up in making it look beautiful and having the right headline and having the right visuals and getting our menu right. But the tech of this really is very important. A slow website can drive visitors away before they even have a chance to see your content. And honestly, you have milliseconds to get people feeling like they're getting traction. If for any reason I see that little spinning dial of death on my phone or on my desktop, I just think immediately, oh, bad site, something's wrong, I'm out. So you have a very, very short amount of time. So the 3 quick things that you can do if you're looking at your load time on your site right now and thinking, I got to do something about this, is the very first thing is you want to look at your images and your videos on your pages. Are you making the heinous mistake of putting large files onto your web pages? So you want to make sure you're always compressing your files to the smallest size that they can be to reduce load times. And of course, all of this without sacrificing quality. Now, most of us are looking at screens with a 72 DPI, 72 dots per inch. So having these very high resolution images isn't doing you any favors. So look at compressing your files. And if you think, I don't really know how to do that, this is definitely something that's worth paying someone to do for you, whether you get somebody on Upwork or something just to go through and resize or compress all your images for you, or you've got a web person who can do this for you. This is likely costing you sales. This is people not even getting to see your page. So this is definitely worth doing. So optimize images and videos is the first tip. Second is reliable hosting. Now, most of us, I think, would have a reliable host, but if you've got like a legacy system, like maybe you started your website 13 years ago and you hosted it with, your brother-in-law's friend over the road and you've never bothered to change it, now might be the time to look at that and go, you know what, the load time is because I haven't got a higher quality host. And even if you're paying a few dollars extra a month, this is really worth doing. Your hosting provider can have a huge impact on your site's performance. And I know from painful experience what a difference this makes. You can go literally from hell to heaven just by changing your host. And then finally, I'm just going to get techie with you for a moment, which is a real scary thing for me to do because I am not a techie person. But there is these concepts of caching and CDN. So firstly, you want to use caching plugins and also a CDN, a content delivery network, to enhance performance. And it can help with lots of things, including page load speed. And these tools will significantly speed up your site by storing copies of your pages and delivering them to users more quickly. That's what the caching plugins do. And you want to ask your website administrator if you have a content delivery network if you're not sure. And there are some, pretty mainstream CDN providers like Amazon CloudFront, which is a low-cost CDN service that Amazon Website Services provides. Or there's Google Cloud CDN, which is a content delivery network integrated with Google Cloud Platform. And what these do is accelerate the delivery of websites and application and all the cloud storage that you might have for all of the content on your site. So if you're not sure, I don't know what a CDN is, don't worry. Ask your website administrator and they'll be able to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, a lot of us, our experience and expertise is not in technology. If it is, great. You probably understood everything that we just said. Otherwise, just get someone who speaks websites and tech to help you with this. Just give them the outcome. The outcome is faster download time, and give them these areas and then just let them go for it, because speed is so crucial. We have such little patience for anything slow. We want everything done yesterday. And so slow websites are part of that as well. So let's have a look at mistake number 4. And that is something I'm seeing less and less of, but I'm still seeing it. And that is not being mobile friendly. And so more and more people are browsing on mobile devices. They're browsing websites. They're sitting in the queue at the checkout, and they're going to a thing, or they're waiting, for the kids to come out of school, and they're browsing something. So your site needs to be optimized for mobile, especially if you're sending people an email and having them click through to your website or a page. You want to make sure that they are going to be able to look at it, whatever device they are on. In fact, there's some recent statistics that I have here, and they're from this year. They show that in Australia, we're almost 50-50 right now in terms of how people access the internet. And so it appears that desktop devices are just ahead at 52.2% of users accessing the internet using a desktop computer. But that figure is going to change. And we're seeing an increasing number of people, particularly if you serve a younger market, almost exclusively using mobile to access the internet. Now, these stats are going to be a little different depending on your business. And for instance, with her business, on some things we have a lot more mobile consumption, but on other things people use their desktop. But they're women running their own business, they're sitting at their laptop. But also depends on your region. So if you serve, for instance, Africa, where mobile is far the majority, you need to take that into account. And so here are some quick tips to help you be more mobile friendly. And these tips apply to your website, but also when you're creating standalone landing pages. Same things apply. One thing is the responsive design, and that is making sure that your site adapts to different screen sizes. So there's not just the Apple range, your phone, your iPads of different sizes, your laptops and your desktops of different, but also across all the platforms and all the different possible devices that people could be looking on. And so these days, a good website creator is creating and testing your site against all these different ways that people might be viewing. The other thing is mobile testing. So regularly test your site and your pages on various mobile devices and making sure everything works as well as expected. So one of the things that can happen is that the order in which items appear on a page when you're looking at it on a big screen get reordered when you're looking on mobile. And so you want to make sure that the important information still is in its right hierarchy. And this can really mess up the user experience if you get it wrong. For example, if you have pop-ups on your website, what happens when you go to mobile? Is that pop-up going to interfere with the visitor's ability to navigate the site? Is it going to obscure the information you really want them to see? You don't know that until you go to mobile. And this is something I know we've even forgotten. We'll build a new page or a new site for something and we'll forget to actually test it on mobile. And then when we do look at it, we think, oh, you know what, this really should be reordered because something's being hidden. Or we might turn the pop-up off for a mobile page if we know that sort of page everyone's going to be going to on their mobile. The other thing is to optimize touch elements. And here's what I mean. You want to make sure that buttons and links are easy to tap on mobile devices with our pudgy little fingers. So that means making them large enough and leaving enough space around them to prevent accidental clicks and ensuring that they're not hidden. So I have been on many a site, looked at it on mobile, and the live chat function pops up and it totally obscures the button I'm trying to click to register for something. It's hidden under something else, but you'll only know that if you actually go ahead and you consider these touch elements and you look at it on mobile.
That is so frustrating. Can you imagine how somebody would feel if they'd put all the effort into a campaign, they'd run ads, they'd build their page, and then it's like snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, Susie.
And it's costing sales, right?
right at the point where they want to buy from you, right at the point where they want to click that button, they simply cannot. I mean, that is just tragic. So yeah, this is a really good tip that you're sharing. And a mobile friendly site makes such a huge difference in keeping visitors engaged. In fact, I'm working with a client right now with a very successful SaaS product, software as a service product. And we're shifting the entire operation to be mobile first. Now, this is a software that has typically been desktop focused, and we are shifting it all to being mobile first. And you might hear this phrase, mobile first. It's this idea of actually designing your site with a mobile in mind first versus the old idea, which is designing, for a desktop and then squishing it down and compromising some way for a mobile. So this mobile first attitude is something I think we want to start looking at, particularly if we have an audience where we know the majority of them are mobile users. So yeah, back to this SaaS product. It's a huge undertaking. Like, it's really going to take a whole lot of really pulling the whole thing apart and putting it back together again. But it is a sign of this massive shift that's happening in the importance of mobile. So yeah, I loved everything you said there, Susie. And now I want to get onto the fifth of our most common website mistakes that we see that could be costing you sales. And this one is a lack of SEO optimization, search engine optimization. Now, we're talking about optimizing our search engine optimization. So we kind of got the word in there twice. But we do want to optimize this. We do want to make sure that we're taking every advantage of SEO, because what SEO does is there's people out there right now searching for words and phrases that are relevant to the thing you're an expert on, or the solution that you provide, or the problem that you solve. Platforms like Google will send you free leads if you have really optimized your search engine optimization. So a couple of things that you want to do if you are thinking, I have really ignored this, or I used to do it and now I have really taken my eye off the ball. First is you want to use keywords. You want to incorporate relevant keywords naturally, and the emphasis there is on naturally, into your content and also your meta tags. And again, if you're not sure what a meta tag is, you can Google it. You can ask your web administrator for help with this. This helps search engines like Google understand what your site is about, because you think about Google, they want to send quality, they want to give quality results to people so that you can get what you're looking for. Susie, I remember in 1999, a friend of mine saying to me, this was when we used to use Yahoo a lot for search engines. And he said, oh, no, there's this new one. It's called Google. What? What's it called? And he said, Google, Google. And I immediately used it. And I immediately got the quality of the search results was so much better. I never changed, even to this day. Like, that was a shift in behavior that happened on one afternoon, and I never went back. And so search engines know that they live or die by the quality of the search results they give. And so they want to know what your site is about. So let's make it easy for them to know what our site is about. So understanding your keywords, those, which comes back to your unique value proposition, the things you want to be known for, the concepts and ideas that you want the search engines to know that if they get someone searching on that, they should send them to you. That's some research you need to do, and it's a bit beyond the remit of today's episode. But we've got a great episode with Kate Toon, who is a fantastic SEO expert. And I know, Susie, you're going to give some info on that and coming up in a minute. So use keywords, use high quality content. Just creating good content that provides value is one of the very best things you can do to optimize your SEO. The more useful and relevant your content, the better it's going to perform in search results. So again, that just comes back to all the things we share on this show about content marketing. And finally, backlinks. You want to maybe build backlinks from reputable sites to improve your search ranking. And backlinks are like votes of confidence from other sites, and they can significantly boost your SEO. So if an association that you represents your industry is linking to something on your site, or if there's other people providing backlinks to your site that are reputable, that's going to be a good thing for your SEO.
Absolutely. Because your SEO, and remember that's your search engine optimization, is really vital for getting found online without having to pay for it. And we do have a great episode of this show with Kate Toon, who is an SEO expert. She was a guest on the show a little while back, and we'll include a link to that episode in today's show notes. If you need to up your SEO game, she is your gal, and we will give you that link a little later on. Let's have a look at mistake number 6, and that is outdated design. And I'm going to add and bad design. Outdated and bad. I'm just going to say bad like that, Michelle, just for the fun of it. So firstly, an old-fashioned website can make your business look really unprofessional, as can a DIY website. So it doesn't have to be an expensive upgrade if this is you. You can get a really economical site made these days that will bring your brand up to the professional level and look and feel what you want. If you're a member of the Her Business Network and you're listening, please contact our office. I'll put you in touch with one of our members who can help you create a really affordable website. And here's 3 things that you want to think about if you think or suspect that maybe your design is not great or it's outdated. One is how to have a more contemporary look. So really refreshing your site with a clean, modern kind of design. Now that might involve updating your color schemes, your fonts, your layout. And there's people who are professionals at this. And so if you have got a DIY site and you're not a branding expert and you're not a website expert, it could be great to get someone who really understands those things. It makes such a big difference. And you might want to look at the websites you like. What are they doing? This can be an indicator, bookmarking some of the sites that you like and then going to a designer and saying, hey, I really like what they're doing here. It looks really fresh, really contemporary. Give me one of these. The other thing is that, like anything, there are trends with websites. Now, I'm not one for getting sucked up into trends because they can pass really quickly. But so it doesn't mean that you have to follow every trend, but being aware of what the trends are is really great. Like there was a period where the imagery on a lot of modern sites was very flat. Like if you look at something like a Canva, I can't give you any other examples off the top of my head, the design is very flat. That was a trend for a long time. Or there was a time where everyone was using sliders at the top of the page. So they had these scrolling sliders and then they didn't. And then there was a trend, and it's still happening a little bit now, where the background content moves at a different speed than the content. So there could be movement behind the text, and it gives you this illusion of depth and a more dynamic visual experience. And I'm seeing a lot of sites where there is some movement, not over the whole page, but maybe in that top section above the fold, there might be a little bit of movement in the background. So it's not just a static page. That's a current trend. And you just need to subscribe to a couple of newsletters and you'll know what those are if this is important to you. But if right now you're saying, you know what, I need to refresh, I need to do a new site, look up what some of the trends are, see what you like and what you think works. And the other thing is making regular updates. This is really going to be important for your site not to look outdated, especially if you have people coming back to your site again and again because you're sending them there or because they're finding you organically. And making changes shows that your business is active. There's things happening. For example, on our site, and we'll talk a little more about this, every week we feature one of our amazing Her Business Network members, and that post gets put in our blog, but fed to the homepage. And every other week, or at least once a month, we'll change the homepage a little bit. Not the main image, not the main messaging, but there'll be something changing, a new blog post, a new advertisement, something like that, that allows people who've come back to go, oh, okay, something's changed. Oh, there's a new something. And so those regular updates, you don't have to be doing this all the time, and maybe your business doesn't need it. But if you do add content constantly to your site, if you do update it, how could you get that to be reflected on the page that most people see, which is your homepage?
Such good advice. I absolutely love this. And you know, what I've been thinking about a lot with websites is people are often like coming to our website proactively. They've found us through a search term they put into a tool like Google, or they got a referral from someone. And so our website is often that first impression place, the place where someone's coming to check us out, or they first meet us or hear us or see us. And honestly, that old design, that outdated design, or as you said, Susie, bad design, is really not a great first impression. It really puts us behind the 8 ball when we want to begin the conversation with people. We want them to move forward and buy from us. So I love what you're saying there. I want to talk about mistake number 7. And this one is a doozy. In fact, the last 2 mistakes that we're going to cover are probably 2 that we both feel the strongest about, that we feel like if you could do any of these things, make sure you're doing these 2 things. And so mistake number 7 is having a weak call to action. And a call to action, or referred to as a CTA, is where you're giving people the thing you want them to do next. Like the name implies, you're calling them to take some action. So you think about, like right now, I don't know why, but I've got this image in my mind of Mel Gibson in Braveheart. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I'm seeing him right now in my mind's eye. He's got the blue paint on his face and he's got the warriors all behind him, and he does that speech where he calls them to battle. And he's giving them a really clear motivation, a really clear next step. He's getting them all united around this one next thing that they need to do. Now, we're not calling our people to battle and we don't have to paint our faces blue, but I always love this about the expression call to action. It feels so powerful that you are calling someone to action. You're asking them to do something. And so what we find almost across the board is that the calls to action on websites are either weak, like they're just sort of like very uninspiring, they're missing completely, or there are so many, I don't know what to do on the page.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And, it's like nothing in any of those scenarios, it's not clear to me what I need to do next. So here, if you're thinking, oh, that could be me, here's a couple of tips for you. The first is you want to be very clear on what the call to action is. So it gets back to what Susie was saying before about where's the banana, and the very first point we led to, which is what is your value proposition? So if you're really a website, like I'm thinking about Chantel Gilbert right now, who's one of our masterminders, she has a business where she helps people install solar. So you want, when you go there, to the thing she wants them to do is to request a quote. So you want to have that call to action super, super clear for people on the page. So you want to be very clear about what your call to action is. What is the banana that you want people to do to get? And then you want to use some really action-oriented language. And I think about this like, think about all of the shortest, most compelling doing words that you can think of and try to include those into your call to action. So this includes words like get. That is one of my favorite call to action words, get. We all love to get things. So, get your free quote, get started now, get instant access, get access to, our membership now. So getting is great. Download is another one. If you've got something you want them to download right now, if you're giving away a free gift as your main call to action on your website. Claim is another one. Go is another one. Think about these kinds of phrases. So use verbs that prompt immediate action. The second thing is strategic placement. Place those calls to action where they are easily noticeable. Please do not bury the banana. So you want to put it on your homepage. You want to have it above the fold. You want to have it in a box in the middle of your blog post if you're on a blog page. You want to have it clear wherever it is in your website that you want people to be taking notice of this. Now, I said before you want to have a really clear indication of, what the banana is. I know for many of us, our website is doing a few jobs for us. So we might say, oh, hang on a minute, I've got more than one call to action. That is very common. Think about what is the primary call to action and give that primacy on the page. And that may vary from page to page. If you're on a page like Chantel, where you're learning about solar energy, then, booking the solar consult may be the thing that you want to do. But she also helps people with electrical or with their charging their electric vehicles. So on different pages on her website, she's going to have a CTA, a call to action that's the primary call to action. But if on your homepage, you might have 3 things you want them to do. Let's say you've got 3 main services you offer and you're wanting to funnel people from your homepage into the relevant sections, you can do that as well. And I'm thinking specifically of Yvonne Shepherd from Women's Fitness Adventures. She's a Her Business member. She's also a member of our mastermind. Now, there's a few things you can do when you join Yvonne. Now, the primary thing she wants them to do is to become a member. So that's what's above the fold, the very first call to action that you see. But just below the fold, she has 3 very clear boxes, and they have a nice visual so that, remember, visuals really help us to understand the unique value proposition. And those 3 separate calls to action. Now, the first one is become a member now. Become a member now. The next one is see courses. So she offers a bunch of online courses as well. And the third one is find your adventure. Become, see, find. Membership, courses, adventures. Now, the adventure one is Yvonne runs these fantastic adventures all around Australia, New Zealand, and then brilliant ones all overseas. She's just come back from a beautiful adventure in Greece, or was it Italy? I can't get by with it. She's got always been.
She's just been in Greece, but she's got a crew also happening in Cinque Terre at the moment. So it's all happening in Europe.
I'm confused because I'm seeing her in both places. So if I come to her site and a friend has told me you've got to go to Cinque Terre, then I'm going to probably click on the hiking adventures, find your adventure call to action. But if I've come there because I want to find out about a course, I can click on courses. And of course, I might be curious about membership. So I click on that. So you can have these extra calls to action. You've just got to think about where they fit in the priority and the design of the page. And you want to make sure that your calls to action stand out with distinct colors and sizes, and they should be easy to spot and easy to click on. So you want to do what we call visual contrast. I like it. And Susie, this is something I wish we had $1 for every time we've given this feedback. For me, the call to action button that I click on your webpage should be the only time I see that color on your webpage. So like if you've got a blue and green logo, your website designer is going to want to make it look really pretty and make all the buttons blue, for example, to tie in with your logo. Web designers, you may hate me for this, but I would say if you have a blue and green logo, then your call to action button is orange or some other contrast color. And the only time I see orange on the site is when you're asking me to click on that button to become a member, to see the courses, to find my adventure.
I love that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, did you have something you want to add about that?
No, I love that because it's we want it to be pretty, we want it to look modern, we want it to look contemporary and all those things, but the primary purpose of having a website is for people to do business with you. And so one of the things, and again, I've worked with so many designers, is that, you need to lead with this. It's like, yes, that's our color scheme, but we're really wanting this button to pop. What's a contrasting color that's going to be an activating color that is for our buttons? And this is an easy scan you can go ahead and do on your website now. You never want 20,000 different colors, of course, happening, and there's some blue buttons and red buttons and green buttons and nobody knows what's going on. You want to try and keep it consistent because they're all call to action.
Yeah, and this is all about the mistakes that are costing you sales, and this one absolutely has a direct bearing on conversions. Now, we've got some more tips on good practices for pages and optimizing for conversion. Episode 206, we've got a episode dedicated to the 16 essential elements of a successful sales page. Now, you can map a lot of what we're talking about that's specifically for sales pages to your website in general. And also in one of our most popular episodes, going way back to episode 23, How to Craft an Offer That Sells, we talk a lot about the anatomy of a call to action. And so these are kind of foundational ideas, and we'll give you a link to these episodes in our show notes.
Thank you. There's a few things that you mentioned here that we're doing over on our Her Business website, and people may want to go over to herbusiness.com and have a look. But our primary goal is for people to join the Her Business Network. That is the main way that people come into our world. And from there, they go on to do our mastermind and our retreats and our courses and all those things. So right at the top of the page, we have a headline. It says, "Welcome to Her Business, helping women grow profitable, sustainable businesses," and a button there in a contrasting color to join the network. And that sends them off to another page. We also give them different ways to know, like, and trust us with further links. So the way that our homepage works at the moment, and this may change, is it looks more like a news site. And so we've got our blog showing, we've got our featured members, and then when you go a little further down, it's got some other things. But in this section, we talked earlier about regular updates. we not only have blog posts that help that page look fresh because they come to the homepage and we change the member every week, but we also have a slot. And you might want to think about this if you're redesigning or designing your website, a place where we can place, an inline advertisement. So it's like a tile that is just below the fold and before other content. Where it is like an ad for any promotions we have running. So if we are running a webinar or the mastermind is open, or like right now, I think it's promoting the membership, then we can switch out that tile pretty easily on the back end of the site and have whatever it is that we want them to do. Like next month, it's going to be promoting something else. It's going to be promoting something else right there. So it is a great idea to have a space on your site for these promos and changing them out throughout the year, because effective calls to action can really drive engagement and conversion. And it's one of the big things that we see missing from most websites. You do want to remember that most of your visitors, have a look at your statistics, I could be wrong as it relates to your site, are coming there for the first time. And so you want to make that homepage experience as optimized as it can be using everything we've said up until now. But we have one more thing. And like Michelle said, these last 2 points we actually consider to be the most important of all the mistakes that we've mentioned today. And perhaps the biggest one we see, and we've kept this to the very end, is that thinking your website is your marketing funnel and that your website traffic is going to be enough to grow your business. In most cases, this is not the case. Thinking that website traffic alone is enough to build your business and that your website is the primary place for making sales online is a big mistake. Now, this may be counter to what you've thought so far or what marketing experts might have told you, but here's the thing. Unless you're an e-commerce service provider with a website that is purely optimized to sell your products, your website is probably not the most ideal place for you to make sales. So let me back up a bit because I can hear people's brains exploding. Traffic alone is really going to convert into sales without a strategic approach. And most small business owners do not have enough traffic coming to their site. So Michelle and I are big advocates of this. And that is, in addition to your website, having dedicated landing pages. And what does that mean? That means creating specific landing pages for your different offers, for the things that you sell. And these pages should be focused on a single goal and free of distractions. So it's not like your website where you have navigation and pull down lists and sliders and all things. A landing page is actually free of distractions. And a distraction is anything not related to the thing that you want the client to do. So even though we have a website, we have standalone pages for our most important offers. For example, our Marketing Success Mastermind is on its own landing page. Our Her Business Network is on its own landing page. Our retreat is on its own landing page, because we don't want people getting mixed up in the busyness of, oh, there's another blog post. Oh, who's that member? Oh, there's this event coming up. We want them specifically focused on the offer that we're making. So that's dedicated landing pages. The second thing is a clear funnel. So you want to ensure that your website guides visitors into your sales funnel. So if you imagine a funnel like that you might use to decanter oil or wine, your site should lead visitors towards a specific location. And that is taking specific actions, whether that is signing up for a newsletter, downloading a lead magnet, making a purchase or an appointment, or getting on a call with you, or coming into your clinic or booking an appointment, as I said. You definitely want to use effective calls to action to move visitors from your website into your funnel quickly. Now, this can include offering something like a free ebook or something free in exchange for an email address. And then as soon as they've downloaded that thing, they've given you their name and their email address, they are right into your promotional funnel. So they are seeing on the thank you page what it is that you want them to do next. Join up to the webinar, book a call, come into the showroom, whatever it is. But you're also then following up with emails. You might be retargeting them with Facebook ads. You want to take those offers to the next level. And so we want to remember our website visitors, it's just vanity to go, oh, well, I had this many visits this month. How many of them entered your funnel? How many email addresses did you get? How many of them did you move to the next stage? And we want to remember that we want to walk people through, take them by the hand and walk them through your sales funnel, giving them the next step and the one after that until they buy from you. Because as we said earlier, the website is often the first place someone may start with you if they've seen you present at an industry conference, or they've listened to your podcast, or they found you on social media, or you met at a networking event. So you want to make the first couple of minutes, and that's really all we have, that they visit your website, making the most of those.
Yeah, this is something I just feel so passionately about. Your website, even though we've dedicated this episode to really talking about your website, it really should be a part of a larger strategy that's all about guiding visitors to becoming customers. And I love everything you're saying there, Susie. And there is so much emphasis I find sometimes on a website. People overinvest in their websites, and it's because they think it's going to do so much heavy lifting for them. And unless it's a fully optimized kind of e-commerce site that you're driving a lot of traffic to, people are going straight to a product page and ordering 5 units of something. Like if you're a coach or you're a consultant or you're a naturopath, chances are that you're not getting that many unique visitors per month to your website. And so, oftentimes we'll have somebody say to us, well, can I get your feedback on my website? And one of our questions is, well, do you know how many unique visitors you're getting? And if you're listening right now and saying, I don't know that number, please go and find out that number, because it's very likely, and it's normal, this is not a judgment, it's very likely that it's a small number. Now, you can get that number up by doing search engine optimization, and there are many businesses that do very well getting lots and lots of traffic to their website and then moving them into a funnel. So you do want to be getting that traffic number up, but right now it's likely to be a very small number. Like if you're getting 1,000 unique people to visit your website in a month, even with great calls to action, the conversion rate is likely to be less than 1%. So that's 10 sales in a month. If you can get 1,000 unique visitors coming in with all the right intention, because a lot of them are coming in with, they thought they were searching on something on Google and this wasn't what they were looking for or whatever. That's being generous. It could be that you get 1 or 2 sales just from the organic content that's finding your website. So you really want to up-level the number of people finding your website, but you very quickly, like Susie said, want to have a way to move those people into a funnel, into something else. So if you've got a free guide on your website, that's great. People are opting in, they're giving you their email address, but what can you do right now to put them into a sequence of events that gets them to buy from you? What can you do to put them into a funnel? And absolutely, if you are paying for traffic, if you are doing some sort of joint promotion with someone and they're going to send you a flood of leads, please don't send them to your website. You want to do what Susie said and send them to a landing page. If you're doing Facebook ads or other paid ads, do not drive to your website. There's too many distractions there. Send them to a dedicated landing page where all they can do is opt in for your guide or say yes and I want to be part of the challenge or whatever it is you're advertising. Have that process designed from the get-go to move that person as quickly as possible to a sale.
So important. And we did save that one to last because we do feel it is the most important, is really having intention around what the purpose of having a website is in the first place. Now, we've mentioned a few resources like other podcast episodes that are good to listen to if you want to go deeper into today's topic, and links to some other resources. I'm going to give you that special link in just a moment. But first, I want to say thank you so much for listening today. We love to share these tips with business owners. So if you enjoyed today's episode, would you do us a favor and head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating or review? You can also review us over on Spotify. So if that's where you're listening, do it right there. We have over 100 5-star reviews, for which we are so grateful, and we would love yours as well. One of our regular listeners is Stacey Morgan from Raw Success. She did an Instagram reel. I'm seeing this more and more, Michelle, that the way that people are shouting out to us is on Instagram. So she had a picture of herself and she's at her kitchen counter and she said, looking for something to listen to while you tackle loads of laundry this afternoon. This was on a Sunday. And she said, I love Content Sales with Susie Daphnis, Michelle Falzon. And she went on to name another couple, including her very own podcast. Have a great day, she said. And so thank you for that, Stacey. Thank you for being a loyal listener.
Yeah, thank you, Stacey. She is such a loyal and long-time listener and doing really great work in the world. So we will definitely give you a shout out in the show notes. We appreciate your comments and continued support.
Yeah, and if you leave us a rating or review, we will give you a shout out too. So if I needed to bribe you, incentivize you, that is it. So anything we mentioned today on the show can be found in today's show notes, which you will find over at herbusiness.com/website mistakes. That's herbusiness.com/website mistakes. That's today's episode. We have an incredible episode coming up. Michelle, do you want to give us a little teaser?
I'd love to give us a teaser. This one is actually, such a good companion to today's episode, actually. We're going to be looking at the power of plain language with Susan Bell. And Susan is a member of our mastermind. She's an incredible market researcher with decades of experience. And she's going to be talking to us about this idea of plain language, how we can get past all the jargon, how we can stop confusing our readers, our audience, and how we can get more people actually finding what they need when they need it, which is what we're talking about today, and taking action with us so that we don't lose them, so we don't confuse them. And this is going to be a great kind of companion, I think, to today's episode as you start up leveling your website if you choose to. But it applies to so many things, and we're talking about that in the show, from your emails to your the way you're messaging on your webinars to the way you're talking about on your ads. It affects so many things.
Yeah, so good. That's coming up 2 weeks from now. So be sure to subscribe to the show. That was 8 website mistakes that cost you sales. Tell us your thoughts. Tell us what you implement. You can find us at Content Cell Podcast on Facebook, or you can tag us at @herbusiness on Instagram. We can't wait to hear how you put today's episode into work in your business. Michelle, anything you want to say before we wrap up?
I just think that websites can be a great kind of benefit for our business, but they can also be a huge time suck. So get in, take these tips, use them to up-level your website, and then get out there and drive some traffic to some funnels.
Very well said. Thank you so much for listening. We love doing this show for you. We'll see you next time here on the Content Cells podcast. Bye for now.